and welcome to the second part that I thought I would never get to, on the Crender 6. Right, if you saw the video prior to this, I had this pretty much in pieces. I was going to make some changes, and it was going to take a while. I'm still in the tweaking process. So I'm going to talk a little bit more about my Crender 6 Pro. Why did I call it Crender? Well, this was initially a CR10S5, which is 500 by 500 by 500 in height. And I modified this over the time. And one of the things that I didn't change was the motherboard back then, because I didn't know too much about these motherboards that came out at 32 bits. Well, Big Tree Tech, that's their card, actually has a very nice motherboard with a dual Z, which I decided to put on this machine. I wanted it for a different one, but fell on this one. Along with that, I decided to make some changes to make it more easier for me to move this around. Not that it's not something portable, but mind you, the cables were kind of short and I needed extensions. So this is what I did. First, let's take a look at the actual printer. I added that build plate on top. I still use hairspray to make sure I get a good adhesion. The last thing I want is this to warp or pop up after a couple of days of print. And for some of you, yes, a couple of days is a short print. Sometimes I could have this machine printing for a week or so. All depends on what I'm printing. Or sometimes it's place one print on, take it off, another one on, taking it off. And I could be doing that for pretty much a whole month. So this machine, I have printed a lot of things on it non-stop. So this particular machine, as you notice, right, it has a Z brace on the front. That was something I did before, but with my updates, I had to change the, not the Z braces, but the actual rod that would tie them down. I still have my dual Z synchronizer belt there. Comes in handy every time I print this machine. The gantry is still straight, doesn't go to the side. But when there's no power, the stepper motors are loose. Now, I did change. I had a direct drive, different model, and I went to a Microsoft, sorry about that, Micro Swiss, MS, what can I say? Micro Swiss direct drive system. This is still bouncy around. I have to fix this, figure out how to hold that better. As long as it doesn't interrupt with the print, I'm fine. So when I installed that direct drive unit, one of the things that happened was it would hit right under here, and my 500 millimeters were shortened out by 50 or 60. So that was something I was not too fond of. So what did I do? I changed the 2040 extrusions, raised it up, and now I could print from zero, well not zero, but I can print a maximum height of 600, and I still have some clearance here. So in theory I have like 610 millimeters. So I actually have now 600 millimeters on this machine on the height. I still have 500 by 500 on the bed plate. It's the original 12 volt heater plate. The only thing I changed was with the power cables on the back, I had to unsolder them and resolder them where they were burning. Yes, reality. You did a good job making my house burn down. I was here when it started to smoke. So I don't complain about these things. This isn't making a video, I might as well tell it as it is. This machine was burning on the connectors because they strangle the wires. That's my terminology. If you want to know more, ask me later on. But they were melting and it was smoking, and it was right here to turn it off. Yes, my guardian angel was with me that day. So with that said, I changed the direct drive unit. I raised the height of this, but along with the raising the height, right, I needed some more cables. So what I did was I purchased out of Amazon the stepper motors cable. So all these stepper motors cable, one goes to the extruder, right, the one that goes to the X over here, even the stops, all those I changed them. The Y I changed them, the Z, although I didn't need that much. But I decided to go for the whole thing, and I placed in these sheath, these covers, really makes a difference in the presentation. Now, what else did I change on this machine? New, besides that, that was it. Nothing else. Now, I am having some problem with ghosting. I'm certain I have to check the tension of my belts. I didn't check that. I was really wanting to assemble. I could feel here it's very loose on the bottom part. So I'll be surprised if I don't get shifting on this. I mean, I would not be surprised if I do get shifting. Let's see how it's looked so far. I don't see any shift. That's part of the file, I think. I'll know for sure later. It could be shifting. Don't know. But the Z seems to be fine. The X is really loose on the bottom. I can feel it here. Right. But enough of that. Previously, when I was talking about the board, I powered it up and the fans were not working. Well, I made a Y, and it looks like I heated too much when I was soldering and I couldn't get the voltage through. So I eliminated that Y, I went directly, I crimped, and that was it. Sorry I can't show it to you, but I did that fix. Fans turned on. Right now they're on as they're supposed to. This fan here for the hot end, and the fan inside the box. Yes, I do have a Noctua fan in here. I have another brand fan. Noctua was very kind to send me a bunch of these stickers. When I say a bunch, I mean a sheet of different size stickers, which I try not to put them anywhere unless it has a Noctua fan. And they also send me this nice little logo of Noctua. Okay, and this is metal, and it has a magnet on the back, so I just placed it there. What else did I do on this box? Well, I mentioned before, this is the touchscreen, right? And as for the firmware for this is Marlin 2.0.8, if I recall correctly. And I did the logo, or not the logo, the wording, pixel by pixel. Someone on one of the guys online, don't know if it's Teach Tech or Tech Teach, great guy explaining things. He did his, I decided to do mine as well. He did more, but I'm an apprentice, what can I say? Why did I say bell leveling done? That was the last thing it did. I don't know why it pops there. I think there's still tweaks to be done. I did the calibration cube, as you can see right there. Calibration cube. Go within my specification, my tolerances. So it's 20.03 perhaps, 20.03, 20.04. So I'm happy with that. It did turn out nice, but you will see some, if I could focus this better. Yes, you see that ghosting? It could be the belt. So I'm going to look into the belt on both X and Y. Because one of the things for the changes to avoid this ghosting, so it should be taken care of with the motherboard. I did leave the dampeners on the back. I don't know if you can see that. There's the dampeners on both sides. So hypothetically there shouldn't be any ghosting. But again, that's why I changed the board, to avoid that. But I left the dampeners there. So inside this motherboard, right, I have the Big Tree Tech Mini E version 2. I have the touchscreen version 3. I think it's a TFT35, if I recall correctly. Very nice. Then, as I mentioned before, I have the MicroSwiss Direct Drive. This is, in my opinion, it's just great. Thumbs up on that. They are coming out with a newer version. I will not switch over to the newer version because it's too expensive. I did this over, I think, collecting these things for almost a year, I think. Maybe. I think too much. If you notice, I use the word think a lot. So it could have been a year. I got rid of the sensor I had here before. It was an easy ABL sensor that I had replaced because the one that it had went bad. And usually with these sensors, they work fine until I need to take off the hot end and I move it. Once I move it, it's gone. They have a small screw for adjusting, very sensitive. I even got one that was defective. I didn't notice it until obviously the warranty went away and it got ruined. And I was looking at it, and the screw was really loose. There was no way. I was lucky it worked, but then at times I had to re-level this bed every time, which you shouldn't be doing. That's why you have the ABL. Yes, you might do some tweaking every once in a while. If you take this apart, yes, you will have to reset this, or the offset, but it's not like for every print. This print, I had some issues. I bought this bracket from eBay. That bracket here for the for the BLTouch, this bracket here. Well, that bracket came with 2 holes, right? So you could put it on there. But I didn't notice that once installed, the sensor, the pin that would drop down, it worked fine. When I did the Z offset, this pin was still lower than the nozzle. You might say, no, that's impossible. Well, I didn't take any pictures, but it is possible. Why? Because the bracket was too low. So I took a file from my file set that my buddy Dave McGee sent me, and I still have, he sent me a few of these, and I still have them stored away. There's one missing because I use it a lot, and as you notice I use this one also. I use the round file to just file the hole, the 2 holes in there, in an oval sense, so it could go up and down. In this case I could actually get it up, and that fixed the trick, or that was the trick to fix it. You got the message. So now I was able to do the Z offset, perfect. My daughter noticed the sound that the printer was making. It was a high pitch sound. She's 8 years old, so a high pitch she could actually hear it. I couldn't hear it. She told me, Daddy, that print is making a lot of noise. I said, that must be the fan. Well, no, it's not even my box fan. And I came down here, and then I really started screeching bad, and it was just that. So I fixed it. That was it. My daughter, she noticed it, and I asked her later, do you hear it now? She says, no. So it was fixed. I knew I fixed it, so it was fixed afterwards. But that was the sound. What else can I say about this? Well, for this print should be a day and a half approximately, but according to the firmware, it's going to take still, this was like a 3-day, and I still have 1 day, 10 hours. I don't know how that works out. I think it's actually doing an average, so 1 day, 10 hours by tomorrow. It makes sense that it could be like 1 day. We'll see. But it did jump from 3 days down. The slicer actually indicated it would be like an hour and 1 day, 18 hours. So it looks like it's coming to that certain point, that sweet spot. So along with that, in here, as I mentioned in my other video, I placed a mean-well power supply. Now I had something really interesting, and I'm testing it out. My theory, of course. I plugged this in, right? I had 2 plugs, but the original that I had, and I have this other printer in the back, right? That's brand new. I haven't used it yet because I have others. And plugged it in, it didn't work. I looked, it was plugged in, but it did not work. So I took the other plug that I had here, placed it in, turned on, fine. Then I plugged, by mistake, I plugged the other one in, it turned on. Well, I started doing a few changes, doing the PNID calibration, and all of a sudden, boom, turned off. Turned off completely. And I was going back and forth. I I turned it upside down, took my multimeter, checked the voltage, and I have shaky hands, so I actually did a spark on it, but nothing burned, and it still worked. But it kept on turning off all by itself when I least expected. Well, the power strip that I use has what I call all-time on, and if something is on, the power outlets on the side will be on. Otherwise, they go off. For some odd reason, I had it on the side that should be off if there's nothing on. So it was intermittent. So it would turn on, off. That's my theory. Now I'm testing it because this is a print of a day something. Unless it turns off now in the video, who knows. If it doesn't turn off and it finishes the print, it's just that. I did leave it on there for a while before starting this print, and nothing happened. Something good from this modification is you notice 55 degrees. Usually on this type of machine, they use the bed of the 300, the heating bed. So they didn't actually go with a full-size heating base of 500, just 300 from the 300 machine. So with that said, I left, it has a stock one in there. I don't have any foam underneath it to protect. Let me see if I'm right. Nope, doesn't. So heat is coming out. I need to cover that. eventually, once it starts working. But it did reach 55 degrees fairly fast, faster than I'm used to seeing this machine do. So that's a plus. Might be the mean wheel power supply, which is much better than the stock power supply. And what else is there? Pretty much that's it. I don't think there's more. I mean, I could go through the menus, but it'd be kind of spooky. I might ruin the print, but I do want to show you this. In Marlin, there is a game feature. Look at this. Oh, what is that happening? Games. And I'm not going to press it. There's a few games in there. When you compile your firmware, you can actually uncomment this. You can have the space there or not. And you can play some games. But right now this is in test mode. Well, I did place this nice bezel over here. I don't know if you can notice that. There's a nice finishing touch versus the other one. This was actually for the Ender. The Ender 3 came. Someone made this, so they made that, and I decided to make one similar for this machine. So, and it worked. So, looks nice. Nice finishing touch. Usually the details say a lot more. Sticker wise, I got this sticker here from Noctua. Microsys, obviously Capricorn. Yeah, although this is a direct drive, I am using a Capricorn tubing all the way here, and I do use a Capricorn here that came with it. Oh, sorry, I apologize. The one it came with, I took it out and I placed that one. Sorry, Microsys, I didn't want to alter your design. I just want that little extra wiggly space in there, just in case. Because at times I did have bad experience with this printer. It would start clicking, locking up. But ever since I started drying filament, excuse me, it's been working fine. Another modification I want to do or change is to raise this. I have some prints. I didn't have enough filament to finish none of them. So I use filament that are on the rolls to print these things. Because I want to lift this up so I can place the box underneath. But if I do that, I have to figure out where to put that. But right now this is a test mode. The BLTouch, like I said, I installed that and taking away the other sensor. And so far, this got on there perfect. I mean, perfect. I cannot complain about it. No warp so far, knock on wood. We'll see. Like I said, the belt here, I could feel it kind of loose. So I'm concerned that it might actually shift. But if that's the case, so be it. And if it does, this is my prototype piece, so no harm's done. Hopefully, it'll be fine. What else? I think that's basically it. So here it is. 500, 500, 600 on a CR10 S5 with the guts of what I like to call it, the Ender guts. The board was made for the Ender 3 Pro, and I modified all the rest. Again, printer, big thanks to my bro Tim Dickinson. If you see this video, thank you again. Thank you for your patience and for giving me this printer. Also, I would like to say thanks to those guys on the internet that make these things possible. There's too many of them, but there's a handful that really do hit home. For example, chap from Filament Friday. He's one that comes with these cool things that I enjoy seeing. And there's others, Maker Muse, Teach Tech, forgot his name. I mean, there's a handful of guys that I see every time. So if you are in 3D printing or you're going to start, take a look at them. They do a great job explaining. And the cool thing is when they do something, they share it. So that's it. I'll see how this turns out. There will not be a part 3. If there's a part 3, it's me burning this, which I doubt because this was a gift. And this is why I wanted to update this, because I appreciate this gift very much. Alright, well, everyone enjoy. If you print, build, enjoy. This is a hobby, remember that. Don't get burned out on it, just a hobby. Oh, and don't spend too much money. I'm broke right now, so I do accept donations. Just kidding. But I am broke though. Alright, if you like the video, fine. Don't need to leave me a thumbs up. I forget to say that every time. You do not need to subscribe. I have no affiliation with YouTube, none with Noctua, none with Microsys, none with Capricorn, none with Big Trek. Oh, I'm sorry, Big Tree Tech. Sounds like it says Shrek. Anything you see here, you get offline. You get Amazon, but I have no affiliation with Amazon. So, hey, if you need a link, let me know. I'll be more than happy to send it to you, and you could buy to your heart's content. And if you want to send me something, I'll take it. All right. Well, with that said, my next 500 is going to follow the same path, possibly. I still have a CR10S that I need to put back into working condition. An Ender 3 Pro that I modified that's giving me a thermal runaway because I think it has hot flashes or something. Very piggy. I also have this Ender 5. This is also gifted by Tim, thanks to him. Which I plan on raising the height on this. So I'm not going to change the build plate size, just the height. So the volume is going to raise a bit more. And I apologize for the mess. Hey, Teddy Ruskin. R2D2. So that's a future project. This is printing great, but some of you might say, why are you going to change it if it's printing great? That sensor is going away. That direct drive unit is going to be changed. That rubber band. What in tarnation is the rubber band doing there? If you only knew. If you guess, leave it in the comment, or let me know if you have a good guess. So I'm getting rid of those things. I don't want any more of those sensors. In my opinion, and again, this is preference, I prefer the BLTouch. Again, they don't pay for any of this. But if you work for them or any of these companies and you want to send me something, I'm not going to say no. All right, enough of me talking. Enjoy, have fun, and thanks for sticking on for so long. Have a great one. Okay.